Good afternoon, everyone. I'm George Vogel along with Dave Newrath and Jennifer Klekamp. This week we're coming to you with the Youth King of Bowling, and Jen, this week at Durban Bowl, and we have the so-called youngsters.
That's right. I've so often talked about how important bowling image is. Today we're going to see a product for fine young men.
Okay, and with the scoop on match number one, Mr. David Newrath.
Well, there's not a lot of history to draw on between the two players, but Erik and Stan both seem to be very comfortable with the lane conditions today. Good spare shooters from what I can see, George, and let's get on with it.
All right, let's get on with it. It's all coming straight up on the Youth King of TV Bowling.
The Pepsi Youth King of TV Bowling, brought to you by Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Extra, extra, read all about it. We're chilling when the weather gets warm, no doubt about it. To be cool and be somewhat respectable, pick up Pepsi in these hype receptacles. Cool cans are coming, so don't be afraid. And if you get lucky, then you might get paid. So yo, stop kicking, your pace better quicken before they run out or the clock stops ticking. Really, I'm not kidding.
Everything great hot dog should be. People are switching to the great taste of Partridge hot dogs. They're making the switch to Partridge's delicious hometown recipe. The recipe that puts more fun in the bun. They're switching to Partridge because they can't resist that great fresh meat taste.
Make the switch. I did.
Hot dog! It's Partridge. Fresh meat, great taste, that's quality.
Go ahead, walk all over us. Everyone else does. Monsanto wear-dated carpet, the only carpet with locked-in stain protection, is on sale now at Tim Hogan's Carpet Outlet. This week, we're featuring a beautiful carved sculpture carpet made by famous Horizon Carpet Mills, or a luxurious cut pile plush, both for the low price of $12.99 a square yard. That's right, carpet, pad, labor, all for $12.99 a square yard, and pay nothing, not a dime, till next November. So walk all over us and take advantage of Tim Hogan's super wear-dated Monsanto carpet sale.
We're at Durban Bowl for our Youth King of Bowling show, the first of two. This is a look at Stan Russell starting things off against Erik Estes.
The owners here are Alan and Gary Rolfus and Lee Sabatelli. We'd like to thank them for being our gracious host this morning.
And Stan gets things started off right. Gets a little smile out of him there.
I'll tell you, it's very, very important for any competitor to start out with a good strike like that one, George, but especially for the youth players that are even more nervous than normal.
Erik Estes. And that's what you don't want to start with.
Well, Erik starts the match out with a 14-pin advantage, and that's because this particular show is our handicap show for the junior program, and what we mean by that is the differences in the average is given to the lower average player. In this case, Erik receives 14 pins. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to use them all up in the first frame.
Well, he takes one back with him, and Erik attends Garfield Junior High up in Hamilton.
Yeah, 16 years old, George, and Erik's style is a little bit unorthodox as to I'm not sure who his coach is. We'll read a little further down and see if he has one, but he's got some really good roll on the ball, but he stays in the ball too long. Watch the amount of loft he gets on the ball. Well out onto the lane, and it comes off of his hand a little late, therefore not getting the good roll, and you're just not going to get the ball reaction that you're looking for to play the lanes properly.
And how would you adjust to that? Would you make a pitch change in your thumb?
Yeah, Jennifer, you're exactly right. That's where you'd want to start, because changing the equipment would be the best thing to do. You'd go a little bit more reverse pitch in the thumb, and in his case, it would be left pitch. Should get him out of the ball quicker. And he repeats the same mistake. Tough way to start a match for Erik.
Incidentally, down here at Durban Bowl, we had the champion of the Men's Junior Travel League, and that's really a great accomplishment for them. By the way, their names are Kevin Martini, Brandon Abden, Scott Ashbrook, Jared Black, and Brad McCain. Congratulations, boys.
Here's Stan Russell.
Wow, he's throwing a great ball.
Opens with a double.
18 years old, and he's got a lot of experience. Watch this ball, if we could. He straps it, Look at him get underneath this ball, folks. Wow. And then he rips the bottom out, as a lot of young players do, sends it out to about the 5th board, and here she comes. It's freight train time. These guys are out of here.
18-year-old from Green Hills High School.
There you go again. Just sending that ball wide, trusting it, even though this particular time he leaves a 2-8, which is a difficult spare. Much rather see a younger player trust the ball than to yank it up on the nose. Averaging 182. Highest game ever bowled, 258. Said he started bowling at 6 years of age. Over at Crossgate Lanes.
Now he does a lot of his bowling at Northwest Bowl. Nice cover.
A little sigh there as he comes back.
So Stan Russell, a couple of strikes, a spare up in the 3rd, and he starts this match off with a flurry. So he's got to be feeling good about his game right now.
There's Gary Rolfes sitting back there looking on anxiously.
Been in the bowling game a lot of years. Poor Erik. These are the kind of starts you just dread. But again, the roll on the ball is more to blame than anything. If you don't have the good clean roll, you're not going to break up the splits when you go through the nose. He leaves the 6, 7, 10. Now, if Erik wants to try to make this, what he wants to do is get the ball over into the 6-pin area. He's going for it. Hook a little bit.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, that's the way you really want to go for it. And Erik was trying to put on a show for us. Take a look. This is about as close a margin as you can just miss it. Right here, he's going to shoot cross lane. This is the way you want to do it. Actually go for the 10-pin, and hopefully you'll catch just enough for the 6. And watch it right here. About an inch away from making that one, George.
Gave it a good run, no doubt about it.
16-year-older's got a lot of promise, but he needs a little bit of work on his equipment. Would help him out a lot, I think.
Almost cut through the nose again, but leaves 2. So maybe he can get on the, close up a frame here and get on track. Certainly you want to get that first one behind you. It's just taken a little while here today for Erik.
Certainly is, but I tell you what, he's got something here on his sheet to be proud of. He goes to Garfield Junior High and he says, I'm on the Honor Society.
Great.
And that is something to be proud of, and he brings back a spare on the board, Erik.
Absolutely. Honor Society student.
You know, Dave and George, there's 4,200 members in the Greater Cincinnati YABA, which is the Young American Bowling Alliance.
Get out of town.
4,200. Isn't that great?
That is
Wow.
super.
Which makes me look to about 5 years down the road with all these kids coming up and me hitting 30 in about 5 years. I'm going to be in trouble.
I'm looking at retirement right now. I don't think I'm going to wait.
Telling us that right arm is shot.
It's just about gone, George.
So you know what you do?
What's that?
You use that left one, right?
Well, I drink my Pepsi with my left hand, as a matter of fact. You're absolutely right. How did you know that?
Just a guess. Lucky guess.
You bet.
Dan Russell with a spare in the 4th.
You know, something we can point out to, George, with the 2 players, Erik getting off to a very, very slow start. Started bowling at the age of 12. On the other hand, the man you're looking at right now, Stan Russell, started bowling at the age of 6. And that edge is very evident in the score, looking at 29 pins. There's an interesting leave. Don't see all the time. The 210 comes from a light hit where the head pin goes in front of the 2 and just doesn't get it out of there.
Stan with a 182 average. Highest game he's bowled, 258.
Yeah, 258. Nothing too shabby about that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Let's see if he can bring this one. That's a pretty one. Oops, not that one. Wow, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You gave up on that ball too soon, David.
I'm impressed. This boy can cover some boards.
He did cover some boards.
Whew. Northwest Travel League. 2, sometimes 3 times a week, he tells me he bowls. Northwest Lanes, good house, one of the Golden Triangle people on the north side of town. Travel League does a world of good for all the competitors. Erik going wide again. When you don't have the roll and you can't cover the boards, George, you have to be so perfect with your spotting. It's just too much to expect from a player that's only been bowling for 4 years.
Right.
Tough break again for Erik. Bowls out of the Fairfield Lanes area and tries to get in about 6 practice games a week. And who's ever working with Erik, I think you need to make a pitch change on that thumb, because he's got a pretty sound game, really. George gets to the line well. He's nice and smooth. He's a pretty disciplined player. But it's amazing what the equipment can do for you, right, Jen?
I agree. You know, every year the Ohio YABA gives away a $500 scholarship within the state. Last year in '89, Jody McKenzie and Aaron Deach, both of Cincinnati, won those. And it's not only just their bowling, but it's their grade, school, and community activities.
Let's take a look at one of the best balls Erik's thrown so far today. Gets a little bit more roll on this ball. Puts a little bit more into it. Goes across the ball a little bit too much. But this ball's going to roll up. Head pin, center of your screen. Going to go to the right-hand side. Come off the wall. Kick into the 6, 6 into the 5, leaving only the 10. And Erik, throw it there on your first ball.
Like the lights and camera have gotten to our man a little bit.
Slow out of the starting gate, but he's had a 256 to his credit. He's got 500, 600 patches, bunch of those, 200 patches. Unfortunately, he's not going to get to that 200 mark today.
Stan Russell, who started with a double, hasn't struck since, but he certainly continues to put more room between himself and Erik Estes. Stan at least closing most of his frames, just one open to this point. And we're in the 6th. And I didn't jinx him.
You did, of course not.
Thought for a minute I had.
No such thing.
That's only you.
Yeah, we
Oh,
haven't.
thanks, George.
We haven't acquired the Vogel factor this year.
No.
We might have to incorporate that.
Let's hope not.
George, you've done...
I've been held responsible for a lot of things. I don't need more added to it.
We won't go into that at this time.
Oh, trip that 4 out of there.
Ball held. See if we can watch this ball from his release. If we've got it, we've got a replay coming. Can we see his release? Yes. Now watch his hand go around the side of the ball a little early. This is how you create the turn. Boom, right there. Comes off the fingers. Great roll on this ball. It's going to be heavy. It's going to trip the 4, though. Boom. Those guys are out of there. Back to Erik. Cutting through, leaving the 2-7. The right-hander's 310. The baby split. We'll shoot this one cross lane and kill the ball. I tell you what, I'll bet you a Pepsi he makes it. Huh?
Oh, I'll bet he does too. Well,
That's a win. That's a win-win.
But if you got that right, if he makes it, I buy.
Oh well.
That's okay. Dave's
That's
due.
right.
That's right. David.
I'll tell you what, the score sheet will not tell the talent for Erik Estes. 80 in the 7th. Stan Russell running away with this match. 113 in the 6th with a strike working in the 7th frame. Yeah, Bob Summercamp down at Pepsi made sure we had plenty of product on hand today. And Bob Summercamp and the Pepsi people, all of them have just treated us royally throughout the year and have been a major contributor to the youth portion of our King Show. And we want to thank them for their patronage.
Absolutely. Erik Estes with his first strike of the match. Gonna make him feel better. Stan Russell, meanwhile, with the double.
Stan looks tough, George. He really looks comfortable out there today.
We have with us today Mike McDonald, who is the new elected president of the BPA. And we'd also like to thank Burt White for doing a fine job.
Stan Russell up in the 9th. He's got some TV experience. Bowled on the TV show 2 years ago. Finished 3rd. strike. He's going to do at least that well this time around. He's got Dave Abner up next for Stan Russell in match number 2.
Well, that's 2 years ago, George, we watched Stan bowl, and at that time I pointed out that he had a lot of potential, and he's worked incredibly hard on his game, and most of it's been on a release, and it's really paying off. And even though Erik is not doing that well today, again, only 4 years he's been bowling, and he's here. So Erik, hang in there, work on it, and you two will be back, I'm sure.
You know, the man's got some talent, as you said, to get to this point. And some of the scores he's rolled in the past reflect that.
There we go. Well, he plays basketball. He's an all-around athlete. Plays basketball for a couple years. He's in his 3rd year of baseball. He says, I'm playing in my freshman baseball for the Hamilton High League at this point. He's got a lot of things going for him. He just hasn't really focused on bowling yet. And as you know, George, in any sport, if you're going to be dominant in any one thing, you've got to devote a lot of time to it. And unfortunately, that means dropping a few of the other things.
Giving things up.
There you go.
All right.
The mixer. Best ball of the match for Erik. Let's take a look at it here. This ball's going to do a little action, a little dance when it gets down there.
No good.
Like I said, we'll watch it next frame, right?
Maybe, that's right. Maybe we'll see him replay it for us right here.
Hopefully.
In the 10th frame.
Well,
Erik starts off with a strike.
Always like to see him do well and at least finish well, because that's this way, this way.
Almost. Almost.
Have you ever bowled on television before? One of the questions on the sheet, an emphatic no. As a matter of fact, it was shaking a little bit when he wrote that down here. So I have to think that Erik let the lights get to him a little bit, but man's got a lot of talent. If he works on that release a little bit more, we'll see him again next year.
I guarantee you, at 16 years of age, I would have been in big trouble bowling on television.
I can believe that.
Yes. Thank you for that ringing endorsement of my game.
Touche, touche.
And of course, this is our handicap show, and next week we'll have 4 players that are scratch quality.
Stan Russell is going to move on to meet Dave Abner, Jeff Whittle, our high qualifier. And Stan just buries another one. The man is going to finish strong here in match number 1.
Whoa.
What is that?
It's a powerful release.
4 in a row for Stan.
You know, there was a day, George, when the game was different. In the long oil days, you had a few crankers that would twirl them up. Nowadays, it's the saying's pretty standardized. Crank, you go to the bank. Stroke, you go broke. and you're seeing it right. You know, Stan is going wild with the good, strong release. Take a look at it here if we can. Stan will just, I mean, he rips the bottom out of the ball and he goes around the side of it from the bottom. Look at the rotation on that ball. And the pin action is evident. Head pin goes to the left-hand wall and gets trapped into the channel there, but there was nothing left anyway.
I'm really surprised that Stan's only averaging 182. That must be a traveling league average, where you have to go to different conditions every week. He looks sharp.
He finishes with a 233, and that is not too shabby at all. He will move on to match number 2. And we will have that for you right after these messages.
People are switching to the great taste of Partridge hot dogs. They're making the switch to Partridge's delicious hometown recipe, the recipe that puts more fun in the bun. They're switching to partridge because they can't resist that great fresh meat taste.
Make the switch. I did.
Hot dog! It's partridge. Fresh meat, great taste, that's quality. Bowling in the USA. Bowling in the USA.
We're back for our second match here on the Youth King of Bowling. Handicap week here, meaning one of the bowlers will receive pins. This match, it will be Dave Abner giving up 3 pins to Stan Russell. So Stan Russell, who bowled at 233 in our first game, is actually going to get a few pins this match. Dave Abner, a 19-year-old who starts off the way you don't ever want to start off.
David Abner was throwing several of those in the channel during warm-ups. If you're going to bank the what we call banking the ditch, you've got to be able to get it out to that 1 or 2 board, but not to the 0 board, George.
The brown ones don't hook.
They're a little too concave. There's a better shot.
Much better shot. Spare the hard way for the 19-year-old out of Fort Mitchell. So that's got to give him a world of relief after what was probably an embarrassing first shot for him.
Oh, I think he handled it rather well myself.
You got that right. Now Stan Russell, who handled himself very well in match number 1.
Ooh.
Avoided disaster there. Got the 10 to kick out. Leaves him with the 7.
We have with us Nancy Klinger, who's been 8 years as the Greater Cincinnati YABA Youth Director, and she's retiring the end of August. And she just has done a fabulous job. And by the way, she's become a certified lane inspector, taking the course and passing it on the first try.
Ooh, he says, you don't want to do that. Single pin spares. When you average 182, you're going to miss one once in a while. You just hope you don't miss it on television against a guy who has got some talent. See him flirting with the edge on that.
Yes, he did. He hung that one out extremely wide.
We got 2 of them banking the ditch, and this one makes it to the 1 board. Take a look at it here. Does not want to get to there. He's trying to get it out to the 4th board. Well, there it goes past the 4th. He said, oh, come on. And he actually gets a very good break by breaking down the majority of the split, leaving only the 2-7. Fairly easy to make, George. Just hit the 2-pin slightly to the left of center, and you bring it back.
Well, when you've got a roll like that, it makes it that much easier, too.
It's the angle's we got a sign in the back here. He's a little early for signs, but I kind of like it. We'll get a shot of that soon.
The High Girl Series this year was by Ingrid Lucas of Cherokee Bowl, and I think that we are going to see her next show.
Flat 7. Go, what is it? Go Dave? All right, go Dave, yeah.
Dave Abner. A 190 bowling average. Bowls over at Super Bowl in northern Kentucky.
A couple of young people with graphic art future. I can see it coming out.
I believe so.
Dave Abner trying to convert the 1-pin spare. Look out.
Again, he finds the channel.
David Abner is the son of Ernie Abner. I bowled with for 15 years ago, I guess now. His father was a very, very good bowler in his day, and he's worked with David, and it shows. But as we all know, you can work a little harder and get a little better. But the pins from 190 up, George, get tougher and tougher.
Great shot.
Rip that rack apart for the strike.
A Red Sea strike. Yeah, let's see it. 1-2 pocket's going to be filled up. Now watch the ball as it enters the 1-2. It's not going to deflect too much. Just a little jump to the left and then kaboom. Take that 5-pin. You're out of here. ECL and hold. It held all right.
Stan Russell answers the call here in the third frame. Stan finished the first match with 6 consecutive strikes.
That strike will put Stan up by 4 pins. With the strike working, also David has the strike working.
And Stan, of course, as we mentioned, gets 3 pins this match, so it's basically a scratch match. Boy, oh boy, he is hammering away again.
And this is the handicap show?
That's
really?
What's in store for next week?
Well, his brother, not his, the other boy, David, has a brother, Kenny. And as I said before, Ingrid Lucas, she'll be on, competing with the men. I love that. Brian Laws.
No kidding.
And Derek Jimison, who's from your community lanes in Georgetown.
That's where I cut my teeth. Community lanes in Georgetown, Ohio.
Dave Abner, again, he's not going to be denied. Take a look at it if you would. Watch the rotation. Right there goes from underneath to around the side of the ball. That's what you want to do. Now watch this ball rip off on the back end. He knows it's there. Kaboom. You guys are out of here. 10 in the pit. Every pin doing its job, George.
Have we heard that before this year?
No, no, I've never used it.
Didn't think so. There's Dave Abner. Another strike in the 5th, so 3 in a row. And we have ourselves a match. They are doing it up here in match number 2. And we will be back with the conclusion of it right after these messages.
Hot dog, it's Partridge. Everything great hot dog should be.
People are switching to the great taste of Partridge hot dogs. They're making the switch to Partridge's delicious hometown recipe, the recipe that puts more fun in the bun. They're switching to Partridge because they can't resist that great fresh meat taste.
Make the switch. I did.
Hot dog, it's Partridge. Fresh meat, great taste, that's quality.
It's the Ball Shop's Go for the Gold sale. Do you go to the lanes feeling like a lion and bow like a lamb? Put some roar into your game with the Star Trek Reactor, now only $60. Or try the Hudipole 14-karat gold ball, now on sale at the Ball Shops for only $79.95. Buy any ball at the Ball Shops and you get free drilling, sizing, and a free game at Stone's Lanes. When it comes to sports of all sorts, get the gold at the Ball Shops Trophy Department. There's almost no limit to size and selection of trophies, plaques, and awards for any sport. The Ball Shops. We do more than just drill balls.
High above the blue chip city, Seven Hills, lies one of the West's favorite entertainment centers, Western Bowl, where in January, the Honkey Classic began another year of competitive tournament bowling. Since 1975, over $1 million in prize money has been awarded each year to men and women bowlers. Additional early bird prizes are paid to winners during the first 6 weeks of the Honkey Classic, the world's largest handicap tournament. Share in the excitement. Western Bowl on Glenway Avenue, Western Hills.
Being cool, you'll find, is a state of mind. A refreshing attitude when things get hot. Cool is all you got. Doing it country cool. Mountain Dew. So chill on out when the heat comes on with the cool, smooth Mountain Dew. Doing it country cool. Doing it country cool.
We are back at Durbin Bowl, where you are taking a look at some of the
radical dude.
Yes, a couple of radical dudes right there. Kenny Abner on the left, Dave's brother, and Kurt Merman on the right. And,
Ernie Schlegel, you're out of here.
Tell you what.
Too conservative.
Ah, yes, that good, clean bowling image that I was talking about earlier.
Well, that should remind you of some of those Valley Girl days, huh?
Really, they're just having a lot of fun. They're good kids.
Good kids and a good bowler.
Dan Russell.
We got it all today, don't we, huh?
So Stan keeping pace With a strike here in the 5th.
I do understand if we get enough good feedback on his pants this week, he may just appear in them next week.
Designer.
We'll see what happens.
His own designer line.
We got a 4-pin difference, both of them with doubles up in the 4th and 5th. Ouch.
What a great shot. This was actually a put-away shot, but just a stone 10-pin. Watch it here if you would. Second pin from the right-hand side of your screen. 6th pin is the culprit. He throws a great shot, just a bad angle. Second one from the right. Look at it. Cannot miss it by any less than that. Shoots a spare as well, too, Jen. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, to average 182, you have to do that. And I honestly do believe that the reason that Stan's average is so low is because he bowls in what we call a traveling league, which means you're going to be going to different conditions each week. Different lane surfaces, the whole ball of wax.
Got to be able to adjust and adjust quickly. His highest game, he adjusted well. 279 one time. 190 average bowler. Throws a good mixer at him there. Started bowling at age 7. Like most sports, you got to start early, and he starts this ball early on the lane, gets the good clean roll. Now watch, he gets it down a little short, right? About 1.5 foot over the foul line. That's just about perfect. Twirls it up. Here we go. Rotation, 1-2 pocket filled up. Head pin to the wall. Does a whirly bird into the 10.
He's really stable at the line. That's what I'm impressed with. Very solid.
Gets through the ball.
Very well.
Now working on 4 in a row. Will it be 5?
Yeah.
Just
almost
barely
a
missed
5.
that head pin.
Almost a 5 count.
I hear you.
Ball didn't roll off very well at the end there at all, George. Must have missed it. The 1-3-6 can run this one down. Fairly easy again, coming from the left-hand side. Bowls twice a week, he says, and Super Bowl sees most of his action. That's over in Erlanger, Kentucky.
Mr. Doug Martin's place over there. Very nice house.
Ooh, not the way you want to shoot it, folks. If you're going to practice your spares, you don't really use your strike target, which would have been fine ordinarily, but not on that spare. You want to move your feet 2 to 3 boards, in his case, to the left, and cover all of them with the ball.
Let's see how Stan handles that.
Wow. You don't want to don't want to open up against this guy. Stan Russell just really takes advantage. Take a look at this one. Where's he going to play on this one? Up to about the 7th board, I guess. Ball holds real well. He's utilizing the hold. Boom. Out of there, 8-pin. You're the last one to go. And because of the open frame that David had in the 7th, that really, really gives the edge to Stan. About 20-pin advantage at this point.
Dave's still going at a 200 pace, though.
Boy, oh boy, Stan Russell can heat it up when he needs to, and he's doing it this match. 7th and 8th frame comes back with strikes.
He's got what we call, a good open area or playing area to play to, George. And what we mean by that is there's several boards he can hit out there today to strike with, and that really helps your emotion and the way that you get through the ball. You don't have to be quite so perfect. Perfection, we got it. Take a look at it here. David Abner coming up with one. What a great release he has.
I'm so impressed with the way he just splashes through that pocket. Watch, it just separates.
A Red Sea strike, we call it. So impressive, it
blew the screen.
Blew our tape out for a minute.
Abner up in the 9th. And has the double.
Open frame. Nah, it's not going to bother me. I'll come right back with a double. And that's how he finished 5th last year in the King, just missing our telecast. Says he's got a couple of pieces of equipment. And again, for the youngsters to have the type of equipment you need to score nowadays, they really need the help from their mothers and fathers in the local bowling lanes. And hold again. Well, it's holding all right, Stan. You are holding on to that 220, 230 pace. Take a look at this one again. It's a little repetitious, but why not? It's perfect. Right over the 11th board, out to about the 8th board. Nice tight line. That's the way you want to do it.
With 3 strikes in the 10th, he'll post a 251 game.
And that would slam the door on Dave Abner.
David still does have a 233 possibility, though. But he can cinch him out if he gets one more here.
That pretty much does it.
Stan Russell is putting on a clinic for us today and you people at home.
Well, he's struck in every frame but 3 this game, and it's hard to believe he began frame 1 with an open when he missed the, I believe it was the 7 pin.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for me to believe too, but there you go. You see him, he's going to go on to the championship match, and I'll tell you what's impossible for me to believe, that this is the handicap show.
What's going on here?
What? These guys are radical dudes. They are super. I am impressed, and I am retiring. It's official.
It's official.
Oh, wow.
It's official that Stan's won this match. He will move on to meet Jeff Whittle in our championship match here today at Durbin Bowl. Closes it out in style.
251.
You gotta
Fabulous.
like that. You gotta like that. Good sportsmanship too out of Dave Abner, reaching out, handshake, congratulatory, and David into baseball, swimming, pool tables. I wonder what he's doing after the show.
That's right.
Are you a shark?
Minnesota Skinny is my.
Actually, if I had a pool cue, they could keep the original name. Minnesota Fats.
Somebody stopped me the other day and said, "Are you that small or is he that big?" Now, I don't know who they were referring to, but I think probably a little of both. You're a big man around this town, George.
Yeah, well, let's not go too far.
Okay, you're right.
Thank you.
Still haven't had me on Sports Extra, and I'm hot about that, too.
Someday.
Well, David has just fought a fabulous game. He only lacked strikes in 4 frames.
Boy, it is. Yeah,
he's going to post a 212 with a strike.
Wow. Tough to take that home. But he's going to have to. Stan Russell closing with 6 straight strikes again, just like the first game. And what a time to turn it on.
Short backswing. Great rotation on the ball. I don't know what to tell you.
I'll tell you what. Let's go to our championship match. What do you say?
Ooh.
Stan Russell moves on with the 251 to 212 for Dave Abner. It'll be Stan Russell and Jeff Whittle in the championship match coming right up, right after this.
Hot dog, partridge, everything great hot dog should be.
People are switching to the great taste of Partridge hot dogs. They're making the switch to Partridge's delicious hometown recipe, the recipe that puts more fun in the bun. They're switching to Partridge because they can't resist that great fresh meat taste.
Make the switch. I did.
Hot dog, it's partridge, fresh meat, great taste, that's quality.
Uncle Lou, what do you think of that new Diet Pepsi? What, are you nuts? I love this new Diet Pepsi so much better than Diet Coke that I would rather you drop the bowling ball on my tongue than I don't have my Diet Pepsi. I'd rather have a rash that I can't reach. I'd rather my mother-in-law come back to life. Ooh, I would rather eat lint than not have my Diet Pepsi. You understand? Yeah, you love the new Diet Pepsi. What?
Diet Pepsi with 100% NutraSweet, the right one.
14 years in the award business makes Carl's Bowler's Paddock the award professional, providing engraved plaques and trophies for any purpose in any size. And of course, Carl's carries a complete line of bowling supplies and accessories. Carl's Bowler's Paddock, 829-2250. Come see our new location on Dixie Highway in Fairfield.
Bowling in the USA. Bowling in the USA.
We are back with our championship match here on the Youth King of Bowling show. Stan Russell has come all the way for match number 1 to meet Jeff Whittle in our championship match.
Oh, no.
And the messenger sort of missed his assignment there.
The scout coming off the wall, as you said, missed his blocking assignment.
Yes. They'll have to repair that tomorrow in the film session.
That's right. It's hard to believe we're barely into baseball season, and they're talking about training camp for football. Well, that's okay. He opened with an open last game, right?
Yeah, he sure did.
Didn't seem to bother him.
Finished with a 251.
251, 248 actual with an open. That's impressive. That's a lot of striking is what that is.
One thing he's got to be thinking about, though, he's got to give this man 27-pin handicap. And Jeff is going to have to play the lanes a little further to the right, getting out of the skid zone, the heavier concentration of oil, and let the ball roll in a little bit more, George.
Has a real smooth delivery, though. You can barely hear that ball hit the lane. Good timing, I guess.
That's the way you want to pick it up.
Good start.
Bill Ruth is with us today, the YABA president. We've got everybody here. I'm telling you, all the big wigs. Bill Ruth.
George Bush around here somewhere?
That wouldn't surprise me.
He may be somewhere
in
this
here. There's a bunch
massive
of guys with,
crowd we have here at Durbin Bowl today.
Bunch of guys with dark glasses on over there. I don't know.
Looking pretty nervous.
looking nervous, right?
Jeff Whittle crosses over, but it works. Starts off rather well, the spare, and then the strike in the second, plus the 27 pins handicap. He's looking pretty sweet early in this match.
Jeff's also looking very nervous. The way he's crouched down on the chair there, but I can understand why he'd be nervous going up against this guy. Crank, go to the bank.
Ooh.
And speaking of going to the bank, what are we playing for here today, Jen? George? What are we giving away? Scholarships or money? Or
a scholarship to the Professional Bowlers Camp, which each of these young gentlemen would love to go. And for second, $150 scholarship, $100 third, and $75 for fourth.
Yep.
And all this scholarship money that they're giving away really gets the kids enthusiastic to get out and participate in particular tournaments. And I think that's why we have such a high percentage of participants.
Stan Russell, here you go. You get to see him trip out the 4 late. The cranking ball gives him the action to carry the high hit where most players would leave a 4. Look at that, head pin going straight back. 2 pin going to the wall, coming off the wall, noses into the 4, and the 7 goes out late. That's the action you want to create. Other side again? Sure.
It works.
Why not, huh?
Jeff Whittle, a 15-year-old, goes to Milford High School, does a lot of his bowling at Eastgate lanes.
Betting house establishment.
My father told me a very wise thing once, George, and that was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's see which side he decides to use this frame.
There it goes. I think he's going to carry this Brooklyn a lot, the way his ball rolls. Throwing it very hard.
It ain't broke, so
No.
Jeff ain't going to fix it. My English teacher will have a cow on
And so
this
will
one.
my son will tell you that's not a word.
But here you go, 1-2 pocket. Look at him. And this is flush, too, folks. This is
Sure
not,
is.
not a fluke strike. That's a powerful strike. Stan's got a little bit more than he bargained for here. Coming out with a open frame and then a couple of good deliveries. A weak 10 on that particular one, though.
No, I would think he goes, has such a roll on that ball that this would be a tough pickup for a guy with such a strong finish on the ball.
There you see the 10 pin. That's the culprit he's shooting at, and he picked it up before, and he picked it up this time. He switches balls, as you may notice. He goes to a harder shell ball, which is it's not going to hook as much on the lanes at all, George, and you can go a little bit more direct at it. A lot of players flatten the release out, but Stan chooses to change balls. Wow.
Wow is right. Strike in the 5th for Stan Russell.
Take a look at how early this ball hits the lane, and this is what gets it charged up right here at the foul line. There you go, just barely over the foul line, goes out to about the 4th board. The roll is there, head pin to the wall, 5-pin out late. Topple them babies out of there. Which side we shooting for?
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Can you believe that?
Jeff, my goodness, what a crash 10 on this one. He is in the pocket, but paying the penalty with a solid 10. See how his spare shooting works out here.
We saw him pick up the bucket with the 7 in the first frame very nicely. Since then, he's had 3 in a row, and that's an open.
And that's what you can't afford to do.
Well, let's take a look at what the scoreboard's going to tell us here, and I think we will see that Jeff's the beneficiary of 3 Brooklyn strikes, has him in the lead at this point, especially with his handicap. There you see it, 134 in the 5th. Stan Russell with a strike working in the 5th could make that 108 and cut the lead down.
Obviously, that 134 has the handicap already figured in.
Exactly.
On Kathy Brocksterman's up-to-date scoreboard.
Once again, an efficient manner.
Boy, I'll tell you, you want to hear about a rising star in the prep division, which is 9 to 11 age bowlers. Brad Berger of Madison Bowl has a whopping 172 average. 9 to 11-year-olds.
That is incredible.
But I'm assuming it's probably the latter, the 11. 172. He'll hopefully win a state award this year.
Incredible is right. And Stan Russell is the recipient from that man. Jeff, you got to work on the spares, buddy, because you can't do that against a guy like this. Whoa! There you go.
Thank you.
For the double, too. That's like salting a wound.
Big, big break, especially for a double, as you pointed out. 2 years ago at Glenmore, he finished 3rd on our show. And his hobbies, billiards, camping, fishing, and something that happens this month, I believe, George?
Indy. Likes those Indy cars.
Here's an Indy ball, I think.
I think you're right.
Well, we're not going to show you the replay on that because Stan was in the way, but what you were going to see is that his ball is churning up and rolling in there, and the pins are just really rotating around and giving him the pin action that he needs.
Mr. Lee Sabatelli, along with Gary Rolfes, super guys.
Ooh, and Jeff Whittle is seeing his lead get whittled away here, so to speak.
Oh my.
I'm
Pardon
sorry.
the pun.
But that is what's happening.
You have a writer give you these things.
If I did, he'd been fired a long time ago, I'm afraid.
Out of the pit, maybe? Nope. Pepsi, the now generation, has been bringing you the Youth King week after week after week, and the people that you have been watching here on this hour have been the best of the best from all those weeks.
What a year it's been. I want to thank past BPA President Burt White for all the fine work he's done for bowling in the area. Jeff Whittle, boy, he's got 3 straight opens after having a commanding lead. Needs to bring this one back and get on track.
Yeah, he's now down by 6 pins, and of course Stan has the strike working, actually a double working, but the important double in the 7th will make it, he can advance it to 16 pins with 1 more.
Oh, look out.
Oh my.
Well, we're going to have some spare practice. Jeff, get your coach out there and work on those single pin spares, because if you'd have made them, you'd be in the winner's circle today, buddy. But going up against this man, you have got to fill frames. Room. Hold. It did not hold that time, Stan. Stan Russell cutting right straight through and leaving a very, very difficult split. The 4, 6, 7 next to impossible unless you bring either the 4 or the 7 out of the pit and into the 6. And we remind you, the pins are alive.
He needs to get 2 for sure here.
Until they stop rolling. But you're right, Jen. It's a very smart player going for the 2 pins.
Well, oh well, how things can change. Now, Stan only has a 2-pin lead with the 9th and 10th coming up. Look at that.
2 pins. This is the closest match of our telecast so far. 2 pins, 2 frames to go. And the difference between these 2 players, 12 years of experience here, and just completely falling off of his hand in a critical situation. Watch this one, George. Watch it. Crucial situation. Throwing and trusting the ball, but it comes off of his hand too early. You can't see it. Right there, he's concerned. You can see it. Going.
Oh, it almost hung on, too.
It is gone.
Of course, I'm not so sure if it would have hung on. It would have been a desirable spare to shoot it. Sort of like that
That's probably what it would have been.
And open here in the 9th for Stan Russell, and all of a sudden, Jeff Whittle finds himself with a chance to win this thing.
You take it, I don't want it match coming down the stretch. Not quite what we have been used to seeing out of Stan, a man that's finished the other 2 games with 6 strikes in a row. Jeff, you can be right in this thing, but now he does not get up, shakes his head. The 1, 2, 8, 10.
Luckily, he doesn't lose count on that 6 count because he did have an open last frame. This is not the easiest of spares, especially for the type of ball that he throws.
Exactly. He ought to play that Brooklyn shot, Jennifer, and
That's
if he
right.
does, he'll make it. Nope.
Oh, it almost bounced out.
That would have been a break. Both players opening in the 9th frame. Still 2 pins. No, wait a minute.
We are dead even.
And they're nose to nose going to the wire.
Yeah. Unlike yesterday's Derby, where it was a 4-length lead at the wire, this could be closer.
Could not be closer. 170 each player. Jeff.
Come on, Jeff, get back over to that Brooklyn one time. Oh, he fries the rack. I love it.
How about that?
He fries that 5.
Unreal.
I think he heard you, Jennifer, and just amped it up one more time. Here, I'm going to show you I can fry one. Fried 5, medium rare, stage left. You are out of here. Now,
Great shot.
Here's the big one. This will really put the pressure on Stan if he can get one more strike in the 10th frame. It's in the area.
Looks good. Just light. A 9 count.
Now this 1 extra pin is going to possibly become very big. It's very important for him to fill 20 pins.
Extremely important, Jennifer. You're absolutely right. Again, another sponsor that's been bringing us these exciting matches. I want to thank Sharon and Jim both from Partridge Meats. They've done a marvelous job by supporting the tournament, and the situation is this. Stan Russell, a man that's finished 2 games with the last 6 in a row, can beat Jeff with a strike and a spare, or a spare and a strike.
Boy, that 1-pinitis really haunting Jeff Whittle in this match. It would have been over if he would have filled those frames.
It's close.
There's 1. Now he needs the spare to win. Another strike, and of course it is history. 10 pins, no matter how he does it, would give him a 190 to 189 for Jeff Whittle.
Let me make a prediction here and see if it comes true. In this situation, a young player might have a tendency to soften up. Not the case. Stan has got class, I'm telling you.
Oh, my.
Throws one of his best shots of the match. He's got some poise, and he's got a future in the game. Take a look at this put-away strike. One of his best shots. Amps it up, as a matter of fact. Make sure it's not going to go high. 5-pin, you're gone. 10-pin, you're out of here. Jeff, see you next year. But Stan Russell has really put on a bowling clinic for us today. If you're gonna leave the 7-10, that's where you want to do it. Stan Russell going all the way today to become our youth handicap king of bowling. 198 to 189. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to close it out.
You know when you got it right, you got it right. Whether you're talking about this, or whether you're talking about the one and only Diet Cola that does it for Ray, Diet Pepsi. You know, nothing tastes as good to me as Diet Pepsi. All right, now who's the wise guy?
Diet Pepsi with 100% NutraSweet.
Now, that's the right one, baby.
Hot dog, it's Partridge. Everything great hot dog should be.
People are switching to the great taste of Partridge hot dogs. They're making the switch to Partridge's delicious hometown recipe, the recipe that puts more fun in the bun. They're switching to Partridge because they can't resist that great fresh meat taste.
Make the switch. I did.
Hot dog, it's Partridge. Fresh meat, great taste, that's quality.
Caring, day-to-day reassurances that spell security. Care seems simple, but it's essential. And some hard-working Ohioans can't afford care for their children's health.
Community Mutual has a solution. The Caring Program for Children. We'll match your donations dollar for dollar to help Ohio families who need help now. And that makes today a secure place to be.
Community Mutual, the strength to lead.
We're back at Durbin Bowl. The gang's all here. Stan Russell, our champ, Jeff Whittle, our runner-up, and Jeff, you got to feel if you brought back those spares, you'd have the big trophy today.
Yeah, hopefully.
Describe what was going on. The lights, the cameras, all that get to you a little bit?
No, my thumb started sticking towards the end, and my ball just wasn't going where it should have been.
Stan, we've got you down for like a 682 or something like that. For the 3 games you bowled, you got to be ecstatic about that.
Oh, I love it.
Tell me about your game. I mean, you finish strong, and the ball itself finishes strong into the pocket as well.
Yeah, I got a hold of the ball last week and started throwing real well with it, carrying everything.
And,
I need to.
Obviously so. You always nail down that many strikes in a match?
Usually not, but it helped today.
Worked out today. You get the scholarship to go to the Pro Bowlers Camp, and Dave, got a couple other young men over here who did quite well as well.
Well, we've got some talent, that's for sure. And I'm telling you, Eric, what can we say? Lights get to you a little bit?
Yeah, you could say that. Ball was riding a little too high. I just couldn't figure the lanes out.
A few more changes in your game. You've got a heck of a future in the match. David, again, you just ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah, Stan's the rough guy.
Thinks he's rough with the ball anyway, right?
Yeah.
Well, we had a very good show. George, congratulations. Stan, Jeff, work on them single pin spares, huh?
Maybe you can help him out with that.
We might be able to work something out, George.
All right. We're going to be back again next week for our scratch bowling of Youth King of Bowling. Join us again. We'll see you.
The Pepsi Youth King of TV Bowling. Brought to you by Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.